right, well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me today on our presentation talking about digital marketing. I appreciate that, sometimes it's hard to find the time for these things, so I endeavour to leave you with lots of value for your time today. So just a little bit about me. I am a business mentor with a small business mentoring service, which I've been doing for about 5 years. When I'm not a business mentor, I have a consulting business and I work with clients on marketing strategy, website and content and social media management, and also information systems. I also have been working in or with retailers for about 23 years. So that's a really strong area of my experience. And I also work with a lot of e-commerce businesses and of course, professional services. So hopefully, without knowing too much about the industries represented on this call today, I hope I can cover with some relevant examples for all of you. I'm also a very active social media user and online shopper, so I come from a perspective that I see that there's a lot that can be gained for businesses getting digitally savvy. And I would probably say that most of my discretionary spend goes on products that I see advertised online. So there's definitely opportunity for product-based businesses and service businesses as well. And I will be sharing not just social media tips with you today, but also just general digital marketing strategies that you may or may have not heard of. So of course, it's been difficult for most of us. I speak to hundreds of clients and everyone has a challenge story related to this year. So definitely it's, without discounting how hard it's been, I do find that there's a lot of things to be excited about, especially the opportunities that have come up as a result of COVID. This quote really appealed to me: in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity, and that's what we're focusing on today. Interestingly, I completed my information systems degree in the early 2000s, and we were talking back then about all the things that e-commerce will enable, and technology has progressed to that level, but adaptation hasn't really been there yet. And I think one of the best things that COVID has done has forced people to embrace technology more so than they would have ever felt comfortable to do before. So this is where lies our opportunity. So learning objectives for today. So we'll understand the most common digital marketing strategies. And of course, digital marketing is more than just about social media. However, also social media is, of course, a major part of digital marketing at the moment. So we'll have a deeper look at the leading platforms and how to harness them to promote your business. We will also understand website solutions. There's definitely plenty of low-cost solutions available, and knowing this can save you thousands of dollars. So I hope that if you are looking at a new website for your business, knowing what you'll learn today will save you hundreds, if not thousands. Now, how to get sales. Obviously, it's all good and well to promote digital marketing, social media, but a lot of people feel frustrated they're not seeing results from it. So we'll briefly touch on how to, see a return on your investment, primarily around social media. But also will be, what I want to illustrate, that all of this can be achieved without having a website. So if your business is not really conducive to having a website, or for whatever reason, it's not something you are capable to implement right now, not to worry, there's definitely still plenty of opportunities online that can drive traffic to your business. So looking at digital marketing strategies. So this is what we'll essentially be covering today. And this is not an order of priority. This is more in order that we'll cover them, because social media is a really, really large portion of their topic. So I've left it to the end, and we'll quickly cover some of these other areas first. The reason being is, with social media, for example, I run a 3-hour course on just the two major platforms, Instagram and Facebook. So basically each one of these topics can fundamentally have a 1 hour at least presentation with it. So obviously we've had to compress this in 1 hour to give you sort of a broader scope, but there's opportunities to discuss it further and what's relevant for your business in one-on-one sessions, which we'll touch on a bit later. So as much as most people think that people hate email is actually one of the most effective tools in reaching your customers. The reason being is that it's the only free tool that you can guarantee reach your customers. Now, I personally hate, junk email, like chain emails or whatever you want to call them. I've got an inbox of about 30,000 unread emails on my Yahoo account. So yes, to some extent, some emails do get unnoticed. However, I also subscribe and receive emails into my preferred inbox of businesses that I'm highly engaged with, that I like what they do. I think they're clever and they don't inundate me with spam. So that's important, because if you've got customers that are interested and have bought into your brand or into your business, they will allow you into their life, as long as you don't send them daily, weekly, 50% off specials type wasteful things. So the first question is, do you have an existing email database? If not, then it's time to start working on it, collecting it. It could even be, customers that have bought from you before. It could be friends and family. Some friends and family actually would be happy to receive information about your business if given the opportunity, but most people don't think to do that. If you are already doing email marketing, are you doing it effectively? What are the strategies that you're using, and could they be improved? What I often say is just, it is all, even though if you read Google email tips, often they do sort of promote quantity, saying that people may miss your email and just send as many as possible, and you get those long worded emails to promote products to you or services. In my experience, that doesn't work. I think quality emails every so often to remind customers that you exist, whether it's Christmas promotion or whether it's, spring season or whatever it might be, but it's just a friendly reminder that you exist with quality content, whether it's pictures or links to useful information, not text heavy, really simple, that then maybe leads to more information is where it's at. One of the best tips that I ever received, and it actually is a formula that pretty much with most of the clients that I work with is very applicable. So I used to own a retail store in Brunswick Street, and I used to collect emails and hate sending emails because I thought my customers hated receiving my emails. And my husband, who works in third-party logistics, which is fulfillment for online retailers, said, look, as much as you hate email, fundamentally, to these businesses, their email addresses are their asset, and the asset has value. And I also had a business coach which taught me to value the email addresses as an asset, and the valuation is 1,000 emails equals $1 million. And that is, if you get 1,000 people to spend $1,000 with you, there's your $1 million. So obviously breaking it down for various businesses, it might not work for you, or you might, 500 emails could be your, $1 million asset, or whatever it might be. So it could be slightly different depending on what type of product or service you offer, but fundamentally, that is a very applicable formula to most businesses. Probably the only businesses that I've encountered that may not be able to use it to the same extent is really like gift focused, sort of small gifts that you wouldn't have a repeat purchase of. Everything else, services, product, wholesale, distribution, retail, whatever it might be, this formula is really applicable. So see it that way. So 1,000 active emails that are engaged with you is potential $1 million revenue. So collect emails as a matter of priority. Don't offer discounts. I suggest provide valuable lead magnets. It could be books on how to do things, or tips or insights or whatever it might be. Some businesses, discounts might be valuable, but essentially don't just say on your website or wherever, sign up for newsletters, because nobody wants to receive that. It has to be a clever way. It's competitions. It's Lucky Dip if you're in retail, a bowl of Lucky Dip, that way people are happy to give you their details in return for something. So really important, keep that in mind. So obviously websites. and SaaS. So SaaS is software as a service. So website trends are changing every couple of years. So if I've got any web developers on the call, you might not like what I'm saying right now, but in the last, let's say, 5 years, the website builder software solutions have become so simple that anyone that's remotely capable on a computer can build their own websites. Obviously, most people might not be, but what website builders enable you to do is have cheap website solutions. So when I'm hearing from customers or clients that are telling me that they're getting quoted $15,000 for a basic information website, it makes me feel sick, because I know that they can probably get the same result for about 1,000 max, right? So often why this happens is generally people are not sure what they want. They've got their wish list of what they want their website to do. And so they go out and Google for web designers, and they say, I would like this, and I would like it integrating with this and this and this and that. So the provider's like, cool, that's what you want. So they give you the quote for what that would be, well, the cost of making that happen for you. However, there's really low cost software like customer relationship management software, like MailChimp, for example, which is the email marketing software, membership management, learning management system if you run online courses, that have a low monthly fee and really easy setup, that are really simply integrating with these website builders solutions. So you could really have a very tech advanced solution for maybe roughly about $70 a month and a couple of grand in setup fees, as opposed to a 15 to 18,000 solution. Now, there's obviously, yes, some businesses need really, really, really custom backends or very complex reporting structures through their websites, or they're just mega large retailers that need a lot of complexity. So yes, from that perspective, custom website development is the best solution. But for small businesses, really, you can do it quite cheaply and effectively and not notice the difference. So some of my favorite website builders are Shopify. That's great for e-commerce if you sell products. Wix is great for just simple usability, entry-level website with lots of plugin features. So if you take appointments, for example, or various little gadgets that would make it a better customer experience, that's a good platform. Generally, website developers hate these solutions, but it's sort of one of those things where when someone encroaches on your expertise with a cheaper solution, it is annoying. But at the same time, everything has its place. So Squarespace is one of my favorites. Again, it's probably not, it does have an e-commerce platform if you're selling products, but I would probably be using it more as a, portfolio, really stylized sort of business card type website, for your business profile. Like, it would be great for cafes because it's really simple to make it look schmick. WordPress is a very standard system. It's used by a lot of professional web developers, and I think it's great if you are going to continue working with professional web developers rather than trying to do it yourself. But I find, even though I have an information systems degree and I'm very adaptable to software, it drives me nuts. Like it's really hard to use. You have plugins, things expire, it's really easy to hack, whereas all these other systems actually have all that inbuilt and you don't even really have to think about it. So as I always say, when there's many mixed opinions, there's no one correct answer. So it's always good to gather as much knowledge about what solutions are available to you and make your decision. But I know that I'm seeing some horrible quotes and the outcomes are often not great. So this is where, working with a business mentor potentially can help you understand all the options that are available. SEO keywords, obviously that goes hand in hand with websites. It's an ongoing process. A lot of it can be done yourself, but it's very tedious. So if you can outsource that early stage setup to get all the bones right, it's best. But there's a lot of free online material where you can learn to do it yourself. Does your existing website need that? It would definitely probably always need that. Does your business appear on keyword searches? Do you even know what your keyword searches are? So I've listed a number of free tools here that you might find really useful to understand what you can do for your website in terms of attracting, the customers you want. Is your Google Analytics set up? That's really useful to know where your traffic is coming from and what's selling. And even if you get experts, having that historic data from the beginning will help you identify where your market actually is. And of course, creating content to drive SEO, which we'll touch on a bit later, what's content creation, but writing blogs and things like that. So the next point is affiliate and collaborative marketing and apps. So affiliate partners and collaborators is different to what I would call affiliate services. So affiliate partners and collaborators are businesses that are basically catering to the same customers as yours, but they're not competing with you. So say if you're an accountant, you might partner with a law firm, or if you are a bakery, you might partner with a coffee shop or whatever it might be, in order to cross promote to each other's client base, because it's obviously coming as a warm lead, and it's more welcome than sort of, cold type of approach advertising. You can share each other's videos, images, whatever it might be, doing collaborative promotions. If you are in services, could you offer a package that offers both services, that type of thing, and obviously promoting it online to each other's customers. Affiliate services is more around, like apps that aggregate of businesses that promote things. So for example, Skip and Live and Pay for cafes, where people can order things and pre-order and collect their coffee or pay with this app and get points. So identifying if there is apps like that actually are relevant for your business, because it basically opens up a pool of new potential customers that you might not be able to reach yourself. So it's worth researching depending on what industry and what's available from that perspective. Directory listings. So are there any relevant directories for your business or industry? So it could be anything from, the urban list, but this is an example of Melbourne best gift shops, for example, but what, are there other lists like that your business can participate? Best accountants, whatever it might be. Service seeking, true local, all those types of directories are really useful. And not from even just the perspective of attracting clients, but also from search engine optimization with link back to your actual website. So other, relevant tourist websites, if you're in the tourism industry, possibly even in different languages, all these considerations. You can, investigate how to attract tourists from different countries. There's also now new initiatives like Go Local First, so local business support directories, and the Victorian Government campaign Click for Vic, so you can get listed as a destination in Victoria on Visit Victoria for free for a year. So, what are these directories that could be relevant for your business? You need to be on them. Again, attracting a pool of customers that you might not be able to reach directly. So selling through other websites and marketplaces. So I say it's letting others do the marketing for you. Obviously, they do take your a margin. So, is the cost worth it? You'd have to look at it individually for your business. But there's platforms for retailers like Amazon and eBay, and marketplaces like Catch and Kogan, platforms for freelancers, platforms for learning, where you could post a course and promote your consulting service, whatever it might be. Your grocer hard to find. I know Etsy, Facebook Marketplace even. To give you an example of how effective that was for a business in COVID. So I know a business that was predominantly a distributor direct to other retailers. And when they got closed with the first round of closures of retail and restrictions, basically the business went down to about $500 in April or something, I believe, or March. Anyway, so the business owner was panicking, and they had never really done B2C sales, business to consumer. So they quickly threw together a website of their product to sell directly to consumer, and connected it to Amazon, Kogan and Catch. And the next month they did $50,000 with 4,000 orders and individual emails that they now had to promote to, just because they connected to these third-party platforms. So again, it's maybe not a long-term strategy, because you do, if you've got a good customer following, you don't want to sort of cannibalize your profit margins by giving commissions to these other platforms. But if you are starting out online, especially with product in this case, but obviously there's opportunity for services, definitely there's a lot of opportunity there. So keep that in mind. So marketing through interest groups. So where do your potential customers and clients go to for information? So it could be online groups like Facebook. Obviously, Facebook has millions of groups on it. And networking groups like Meetup or Melbourne Business Network. So it's really easy to, I've seen instances where businesses are making lots of money, like a nursery shop that sells like house plants. They've got a shop, they've got an online store, but they do regular posting in local Melbourne sales groups just to promote their product, and it does really well for them. So even if you're a cafe, you could probably join like a coffee lovers meetup group when, ignoring COVID, obviously now we can't, but soon it'll all be over. So you could go to a coffee lovers meetup group and sort of create a network around coffee lovers that come to your coffee shop. So, again, depending on what your industry is, there's probably a group where you could kind of indirectly market to them just being part of that group. So definitely a good underutilized strategy there, and they say network marketing is word of mouth, one of the best ways to do it. So this is the key here. So now we'll look at social media. So of course, it's the most effective way to reach and connect with customers. And why is that? It's, why use these platforms is, opportunities for growth, unrestricted growth without too much investment. It's low initial investment in that you can set it all up for free. Obviously, some platforms require now payment to get more, eyes on the post, but that's besides the point. Low cost operation with an asterisk. What I mean by that is if you can operate it yourself, then obviously it's your time, which time is money, but it's not something that you have to cough up front. Whereas, if you do need to outsource it because you can't do it yourself, obviously there's some costs involved, and the cost of that depends on who you get involved. So obviously social media helps you build your company profile. Think about back to the days before social media, how you were very limited to sort of what you could reach within your own, your own local area or network. If you had to pay for advertising, it was newspaper, which cost, or like actual media, which costs a lot of money. So, so social media has enabled it to be very easy. So it also helps customers stay connected with you. Previously, again, people would just come to your business and see it for what it is and then be gone. Whereas now you've got the opportunity to continuously remind them of your existence and stay connected if they've bought into your brand and love what you do. It's easier to get repeat business than attract and educate new customers. So that relationship is, worth keeping, because then again, your 1 million revenue from your top 1,000 customers, this is where it's at. So we'll just look at the major players now in the social media space. So Facebook, obviously, it started as a means to connect and stay in touch with people and broadcast personal updates to your friends, and now has evolved into more of a media platform focusing on articles of interest and videos for amusement, with targeted advertising, and unfortunately very limited opportunity now remains for free brand promotion. Only up to 10% of your followers actually see your free posts. Just in case you're not too familiar, Facebook business pages are administered by personal accounts, and you can act as your own business on Facebook, and there's Facebook phone apps for different purposes, so personal and business, and also more advanced options on the desktop. And with Instagram, it started as a means to identify and share your iPhone pictures, and now it evolved into a content sharing platform, providing opportunity for brands to create visual identity and attract followers. The good thing is that with Instagram, unlike Facebook, you can reach everybody you want to reach that has an account. So there's no restrictions on how can I say, on, with Facebook, it's really hard to contact people directly, whereas on Instagram, you can send everybody, Jacinta Arden, Sally Cap, and in message. So it makes it easy to find and attract your potential customers to follow you, as opposed to Facebook that really has cut back on that ability. It still has its value, but not as much as Instagram. You can even, reach celebrities, people of influence, can follow topics you're interested in with hashtags, and then just accounts can be public or private. Obviously, your business is its own individual, so you act as your business, and it's mainly an app with minimal desktop features. So the benefits of each channel. Facebook, I suggest that the minimum you see it as a directory listing. You have to have it. If you don't want to update it regularly, don't. Just make sure it looks current. It appears highly in Google search terms when you have that. So it's important, but it's not important to constantly be posting content on it now, because it is getting a lot harder to get engagement. Obviously, if you are getting engagement and you've got a good content strategy, then of course, it's still a great tool in many ways. So, as I mentioned, you stay connected with your fans. But I said email is better, so focus on your emails if you can. Customers can leave a testimonial about your business on Facebook, which is good, and I think it's more reliable to some extent than Google Local, because there's less ability for fake person profiles to leave negative reviews on you. It's more, there's more accountability on Facebook generally. It's a good alternative for websites, so you can easily sell through it if you didn't want to have a website to sell through. It's perfectly built for targeted advertising. If you spend any money on advertising, it's definitely worth a shot, because you're reaching your demographic. It's great for creating communities. So if you've got a product or a service that enables a community around it, like sustainability, mental health, whatever it might be, really, really easy to create and build communities and nurture your customers that way. Facebook Marketplace is good for products. It enables easy cross-promotion. Facebook Shop is a new feature, so you can list your products and sell them via Facebook. And service, I find that service businesses are best aligned to take maximum advantage of Facebook at the moment, just because of that appreciation for media type content. So reading articles, watching videos on a specific topic. Product-based businesses don't seem to be getting so much traction, because people don't tend to share, a picture of a deodorant or toothbrush or whatever you might be selling, whereas they might share an article on sustainability, for example, that appeals to them. So Instagram value is, the benefit is great. It's great for brand building tool for visual. So if you've got a really creative business or, kind of aesthetically pleasing business, Instagram is really important. Of course, you stay connected with friends, easy to market through images and videos without having to post much wording. Again, targeted paid ads are great. Like I said, most of my spend goes on things that I see on Instagram that I didn't even know I wanted. Individual celebrity and influencers sell on your behalf. So if you wanted to engage that as a strategy, we'll talk about it a bit later, but, influencers have become, I guess, a new, more reachable group, rather than actual celebrities like movie stars and singers that you previously couldn't reach as a small business to endorse your product, whereas now you do have the potential to work with someone that has a high reach of your potential customers to promote your product on your behalf without, the challenges of actually reaching them in the first place. So Instagram is definitely best for product-based businesses and individual brand profile building. Not services, I've seen services do well on there, and it's becoming more and more kind of accepted to engage with a service business. But at the same time, I think the value is really for product-based businesses on Instagram. Of course, there is many other channels for social media. I'll quickly go over them, but we'll focus on the major ones today. So YouTube obviously is video for sharing and creating your own channel. So lots of great opportunity there, not just to upload videos to share on the other channels, but to create your own channel on a topic and, show yourself to be an expert, or, cooking videos or whatever your business does, how-to videos if you're a service provider, accounting, tax type videos if you're an accountant, whatever it might be. It is a great tool. TikTok is relatively new, and it basically is entertainment videos. I've seen some businesses do some very clever things with it. I'm not too familiar with it, and I think I don't know if it's a short-term lived thing, but it's definitely a younger audience, and it's a very special strategy for certain businesses. I wouldn't be recommending it to many. Snapchat, very teenagers, videos and photos disappear. Large companies have leveraged it quite well. I haven't really heard of small business doing well with it. Pinterest is great for decor products that are always available, or information even. Like toddler nutrition, for example. So if you're a nutritionist, you could post things on there that kind of continue to circulate for years and years. It's not good for seasonal products like clothing that is seasonal, or something that, you sell through and don't repeat, because it is something that remains up there for a really long time. So you might find that in 2 years' time, you've got someone following up on that product and you don't have it anymore. LinkedIn, obviously great for professional services in your resumes, and Twitter's short text messages. Again, I haven't seen too many small businesses get traction with it, but obviously for some, it is relevant. So, what is the purpose of social media? I do get a lot of frustrated small businesses saying, I don't see a return. And I always say, well, yes, sales is one thing, and you want everything to lead to sales. But at the same time, really, social media marketing is equal parts brand identity, keeping in touch with fans, reaching new fans, building a community, and of course, product promotion. So it's not a channel for advertising type content all the time. It's each post has to have a greater purpose. And it doesn't always lead to sales, and it's a lot about nurturing and engaging with your followers to remind them that you're there. So of course the challenges, with everything, there's challenges. So with social media, it's not the holy grail. There's a lot of talk about how you have to be online, you have to be using social media, and unfortunately it just doesn't work for all. So there is a bit of an X factor. So some businesses can do all the best practice advice and find themselves, not having any results, and others just do what they feel like. It sort of goes outside the typical normal conventions of what is normal and cool on social media, and do really well with it. So it is a bit of a test and measure situation. You do have to kind of play by platform rules and user preferences, even though, novel and innovative content is welcome, but you have to kind of balance it with doing what's on trend and cool right now. You need to really be a user to understand the platforms. Like you just can't, you've never used it and then you log in and start kind of getting value with it immediately. If you really are a user, then you can kind of start to see where your opportunities might lie. You need to be creative and capable to do your own brand content. Otherwise, you have to outsource it. And you need to be consistent. That's really important. And so random pictures and no clear messaging really is actually a detraction. I say poorly managed accounts are worse than having nothing at all. So again, look at your own capability before you decide which platform you will pursue. And of course, more businesses are being forced to be paid, being forced to pay to show their content to their followers, which is not ideal, and it's going to be more so as we progress. So that's definitely a challenge for people that heavily rely on social media for their marketing. And just keeping in mind that formatting of advertising is quite different to posts formatting, and the way you do advertising on these channels is different to your posts. So some people don't understand that and either do really ad copy kind of like typical ad sounding posts, which don't work. And then they boost their normal posts as an ad, which also doesn't work. So you kind of have to understand that balance. With Facebook, specifically limited organic exposure, which I've mentioned, it's really hard to actually get organic followers these days without paying for a campaign to get people to like your page. You're pretty much relying on your network to grow your fan base, and it is better for services, not so good for products, like I've mentioned. With Instagram, the challenge that curated content is essential. It's not just about the individual post, it's about the grid. So as you can see here, I've got examples of before and after of, mediocre grids, and then when they become curated, how much more effective it looks. And businesses that don't understand the importance of this grid often do not, they find that they're not getting traction on Instagram because it looks messy and users don't want to engage with it. Also, content creation on Instagram is very time consuming, but it's short lived. So, your followers are exposed to it for a couple of seconds max. So it kind of seems a bit disheartening when you've spent all this time and only get a few bleeds from it. So it is a challenge from that perspective, and it is a bit of a popularity contest. So a vanity matrix do kind of play into it. So content creation for all your web, digital marketing, social media, you need to create content, which is essentially, text, images, sounds, videos, and animations. So when you are marketing online, it's important to understand who's your online customer. So if you find that, for example, your main customer in physical presence is 80-year-old grandmothers, the chances are that they're not going to be your customers online. So basically determine what your online client persona is and what they would like, do, say, follow, and basically target them specifically. The good thing is it doesn't have to be done by a professional. If you're very clever, you don't have to be very clever, but just, you can write, you can take photos, you can use your smartphone using, filters and things like that. So if you can do that, you can create your own content. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you probably need some professional help with that. So content must be fun, must be consistent. Avoid personal content. What I mean by that is, like, if you have a business and then you post, you taking your dog for a walk in the morning, or you kind of post a random what you've eaten for lunch type thing, like that kind of mixes up the brand message. So unless your personality is really tied with your brand, just don't include your personal details into it. You can do it in the stories though. The social media now has the stories feature, which disappears after 24 hours. People do like to see inside a person's, or I guess a business's back, behind the scenes, but it just shouldn't kind of be at the forefront of how you present your brand online. And remember, it's not an ad feed. It's not for your catalog. It's not for your promotions. It's for what would your brand be like if it was a person, what would it be like? And that's your communication strategy around that. Sharing other people's content will strengthen your brand identity. It's called content syndication. So if you find a blog from someone else that kind of supports the point that you're trying to make with your business, you can share it, give all the credit where it's due, but you don't have to write your own blog content from scratch. You also don't need to, for your social media, create all your own images. So again, you can share For example, if you sell hats, you might find a model wearing a hat and say, we love how model X looks so amazing in this hat. Again, it's not about, and buy our hat 50% off. It's more about that lifestyle and showing, how others are living a similar lifestyle to what you are. The easiest way to do all this is create a content bank, which is just basically a collection of links and images that you want to share, rather than posting them as you find them. And then you spend about 2 hours every couple of weeks planning or scheduling your content with a specific goal in mind. So are you trying to increase followers? Are you trying to increase sales? Are you trying to promote your new range? All of that can be planned out. I find with a lot of small businesses, say in the lead up to Christmas, they wake up, oh my God, it's 1st of December, I haven't done my Christmas promotions yet. So if you do content planning, you know well in advance that these certain things need to be activated. And you're a bit more organized about it, and therefore you see a lot more from your social media efforts. Otherwise, it is a little bit like you're posting, but you're not getting any results. So as a result, you don't want to post. And then because you're not posting, you're not getting results. So it's like very much chicken and egg situation. So you do have to, chip away at it continuously, even if you don't think you're seeing results. But if you're not seeing results, it's really good to speak to someone to try to understand why, because you might just be able to tweak your approach slightly and see better results from that. There is planning and visual planning apps like Hootsuite and Plannerly, which are free for the basic version. And you can schedule your posting through them and see what your grid will look like, and, kind of not have to guess. It's just all there for you presented. There's a huge number of apps, as you can imagine, for editing and filtering images and video templates to help you make it look professional. So one, if you haven't heard about it, you really need to get on it, is canva.com, free graphic design template apps. So it basically enables you to create professional looking imagery for all formats. So depending on what Facebook banners, websites, presentations, whatever it might be, there's free templates, really well designed graphic templates on Canva. It's amazing. I think the girl that started this is now Australia's first self-made billionaire by obviously her company valuation, but yeah, she's done really well. Phone filters, obviously there's free phone filters that come with every phone. You can get free apps like Camera Plus or Lightroom and just play around with settings in those, or you can even get what's called presets, which are predetermined settings for these types of apps, and then they create the same hue on all your images, which creates that consistency that is good to have, especially on Instagram. And of course, free stock images. Google free stock images. I think last count, we found about 16 websites that offer free stock images. I've listed my go-to ones here. So you can use them for everything basically other than kind of direct sales. So if you find a hat on there, you can't say, this is our hat, $50. Like, that's not okay, but you could do more lifestyle shots or, include that into your content without it being a direct sales promotion. And there's, millions of images available. So what works? And of course, the answer is it depends. What are your goals? Are you trying to get more foot traffic? Are you trying to get website sales, bigger contact lists, more followers? Of course, all of this you probably want. So each post should have a purpose. And of course, what works for each business depends on what industry you're in. So again, it's worth chatting to someone that has potentially more insight than you on that type of stuff to get strategy. We'll get clear on your strategy around that. What are your capabilities? Can you create your own quality content? Is it the best way to spend your time? Some business owners want to learn how to do it, but fundamentally, if you're not going to be the digital marketer in your business as it grows, it might not be the best investment of time for you. So could you work more earning money and outsourcing this type of stuff to somebody else? So it's often good if you can do your own content creation, because then the consistency is there. So again, it just depends on what industry you're in and how much time you have. And of course, what is your budget? If you do have the capability, or if you don't have the capability to do your own content, then how much are you prepared to pay? You can hire someone. For small businesses, I often steer them away from the bigger agencies because I do find that they don't see the value in it for a number of reasons, and mainly because the larger agencies work with businesses that are more organized and they've already got everything, their campaigns planned, and they just need someone to execute it all. Whereas small businesses want these agencies to basically take over and do everything for them without a very big budget. And so then they're disappointed that they're not seeing what they thought they would be seeing. But so I often say for small businesses, probably working with freelancers or single person agencies, that type of thing would probably work best for you. But I have seen some horrible rip-off stories, especially recently, where, management fees of like $1,500 a month and small businesses are not seeing a result on it. So I'm very cautious with the agencies. So again, if you're getting quotes, maybe find someone that you trust that can review them for you. Maybe get word of mouth referrals, probably best. Speak to other businesses on who they use, because we've been basically, having been the shoulder to cry on for these people that are getting ripped off by agencies. So I'm just really cautious. They're definitely great when you find a good one, but the $1 million question is, where do you find a good one? So do your research. And then, yes, of course, you can learn to do it yourself, but it is hard and there's a lot of test and measure involved. So this is where a lot of small businesses get disheartened. So you could follow best practice tips for your industry and not get any traction. And then you might try something else and it works. But how long you have to try things that don't work before they do work is the $1 million question again. So if you don't have much time or patience, you probably are better off going with someone that's done the testing and measuring for others, can set it up for you, can recommend what's worked for others, and then you can take it over and manage it yourself. And that way you're not wasting your time and weeks and months trying to figure it out. So the last but not least, of course, how do we increase engagement, followers and sales? So free tools, I guess, are obviously quality content. My favorite strategy at the moment is the follow and follow strategy. I don't think it has a better name, mainly for Instagram. And that is, you identify businesses or pages that are within your, realm of customers. So it doesn't have, like I say, don't do your competitors, but, someone complementary. So as an example, if you're a food business, you might find a local chef. If you're a, like a sustainability business, you might find a Australian sustainability group and see who follows them. And then you basically just go to their followers and start following them. And what that achieves is they're basically knocking on these people's doors that are potentially your customers because they're already interested in that, and saying, here I am, choose to follow me or not. And you would have a really good call to action on your page. So support small business through this tough time, or online store launching soon. In the meantime, support us by following us, that kind of thing. People like to support small business. And basically start following as many people as you can from these other pages, and you will start to see people following you back. Now, the good thing is that you can then also continue to engage them. And I know this takes time, but it's worth it. Liking and commenting, if you can, on the posts of the people that are most likely to become your customers, because that makes them feel valued. And again, it's an opportunity to remind them of yourself. Often people actually like it when the business seems to be engaged with them personally. As an example, I'll show you how a clever social media strategy led to sales from my perspective. So I was following a page called BioPack, which is a reusable package, or not a biodegradable commercial packaging page, which actually is not a page that I would generally follow as an interest piece, but they have a really, really, really pretty Instagram grid. So bio.pack, if you want to look it up. Anyway, and one day I'd been to South Melbourne Market and I was outraged at the use of plastic for oysters. And they happened to just post a biodegradable oyster tray. And so I was like, it was just, the timing was uncanny. And I said, oh my God, commented, because I'm a commenter and engaged. And I said, oh, I was just at South Melbourne Market. And I'm so outraged about the plastic use, and everyone, all the fishmongers should be using this. And just by good coincidence, I guess, a shop called Fish Shop responded to me and said, well, we're at South Melbourne Market and we use these. And I was like, oh, how nice. They commented and it's relevant. And I had a look at their page, and normally fishmongers is not something that interests me as a follow thing, or that I would follow. But they had nice content and I followed them. And then so what happened was I saw them post this delicious looking salmon dish thing, and I went to South Melbourne Market and bought it. So, you can see how that, I think often people are like, but how do I get sales? I don't know how to get this sort of conversion. But that's a perfect example where it's just commenting, a relevant comment got me to be a follower and buy into the brand. And then their content got me to take action, but it wasn't immediate. It was something that I saw, a month down the track. So that, I'm hoping I'm sort of letting you see how, engagement on Instagram can really, achieve actual sales without any cost to you to do it other than time. Now, hashtags, of course, are a popular recommendation in terms of getting more followers and engagement. However, the issue with that is if, say, you do, hashtag coffee, if you're a coffee shop, that means that basically all the 6 billion or whatever users around the world could tap in hashtag coffee and see your coffee post. And though they might like your post and they might like your page because they like your content, but they could be in Slovenia or, Venezuela. And so they're not your customer. So yes, you should be hashtagging to attract relevant. And if you don't know what hashtagging is, it's beyond, we can't go into that detail, but we can have a one-on-one session and that can be explained. But essentially, hashtags, yes, you do them, but it's just not the best driver of customers that are your customers. It's identifying other complementary pages and engaging with their followers that gets you the right customers, like the Biopack and the Fish Shop example. And like I said, like, comment, and respond. So when you start following people, just have a look. When they follow you back, if they look like a person that could potentially actually be your customer, sometimes you can't tell, but generally you can. So stay following them and engage with them. Just look at your feed, just like automatically, sometimes comment if you generally like it. If they don't look like they'll ever be a customer, so it's someone in Venezuela and they liked your coffee, well, you can unfollow them because you don't want to have too many people that you follow because you just get too much noise and your digital strategies aren't that effective. So interactive content via stories, so you could do polls. So if you have two different products or you're trying to decide which color to introduce to your range, you can post it as a story and get people to vote, and people generally like to engage that way. Engage, different platforms that are related to your products, collaborate with others. So you could do, again, cross promotional post to drive business to another, we're a coffee shop and we love this florist next door type commentary, and they could do the same for you. And you can run competitions. Competitions work best for bigger brands. So generally people don't take action too much for small businesses in terms of competitions unless you've got something that they really want. But competitions do work for some instances. So again, hopefully you know whether it will work for you. And if you don't, then again, speak to someone that might be able to provide you with a competition format. Not too many steps is the key. So sometimes you see competitions, you need to go and like our page, leave your email address, invite 10 friends, all that type of stuff. You definitely start to lose people. So the simpler, the better. Paid. So paid options are boosted posts, which are different to ads. And what I say, boosted posts, kind of fundamentally, like I said, you're not able to organically reach all of your followers, especially on Facebook. So if you do want to reach them with your post, like say you're reopening and you want to make sure everyone that's ever followed you knows this, you may want to boost the post saying you're reopening. So it's a more kind of, not an ad as such, it's more just making sure you reach more people with that post approach, which doesn't necessarily result in actions and sales, but you know, it has its purpose, but I wouldn't recommend it as your main paid advertising channel. Ads, of course, it's quite like complex. It's easy to sort of select a demographic, but there's a lot of factors in identifying your potential customers. So I would sort of be on the side of getting a professional to at least set you up and show you how to do it. Influencers, paying someone to promote your product, does it work? Mostly no, but it does create content for you, and also you could use that for, you know, your email marketing, that so-and-so is using it. It's social validation. So look at it from a, not like spend to get a return, and if you don't get a return, it's a fail. Look at it more like it's a, you know, all the other benefits of it: new followers, content promotion, social validation. Customer content, so you could give away free products for promotion, and then get your customers to post on it. So obviously it will be the cost of the product or the discount, but that's a really good way to get content. And of course you can buy fakes, so you can get fake followers and fake likes, but obviously that's not going to generate sales for you. But if you do care about the vanity element, and you think your business will attract more followers by having many followers, that, I mean, I'm not endorsing it, but that's one of the reasons why people would engage in purchasing rather than getting their own organic followers. For example, if you go to a page and it's got 2 followers, it just doesn't seem, no matter how good their content is, it just doesn't seem like a page that people like. So if you go to a page that has 20,000 followers, on face value, it must be doing something right because it's got so many followers. So even though the, you know, the followers can be purchased and you can have a look to see how real they look, but on face value, that's what sort of some people respond to, that popularity element. Anyway, that's all we have time for today. If you want further support in this, I believe the City of Melbourne is offering 250 or so mentoring sessions for free. So you would get it via the business concierge, but you'll receive info on the follow-up email about it. Alternatively, you can book mentors with the small business mentoring service and with myself, and that's my profile. So that's it. I guess for anyone that's still on the line, if you have any questions, type them in the chat box and Ross will read them out to me and I'll do my best to answer it.